Hello students, and welcome back to this virtual class of English Literature. In the previous sessions we started reading the play The Tempest. We discussed the characters, the dramatist and its plots. In the previous lecture we read the opening scene of the play, in which various important characters, major characters of the play, they are seen on a ship, and the ship is stuck in a tempest. Alonso, the king of Naples, his younger brother Sebastian, his son Ferdinand, Antonio, the Duke of Milan, and Gonzalo. These are important characters of the play which are seen on the ship. The ship is stuck in a tempest, and the mariners and the bosun, they are making all their efforts to save the ship from sinking. We came to know of the temperament of various characters as well. But behind the scene, there is a person who is responsible for this tempest. This tempest is not natural at all. It is being caused by some magical powers. And who is causing all this? This is Prospero, who is living on an isolated island for last 12 years, who actually was the Duke of Milan. His younger brother Antonio banished him from his dukedom 12 years ago, and ever since then he has been living on this isolated island along with his daughter Miranda. So when the scene 1 ends, we see that the ship is about to sink. It sinks afterwards. But Miranda is looking all this from the island. She is seeing all the thing happening before her eyes. So in this scene, we will see how Miranda reacts. Her reaction will let us know, it will help us to know her character, what kind of a girl she is. We will come to know of Prospero in this scene, how Prospero came and started living on this isolated island, and why is he causing this tempest. What enmity does he have with these people on the ship? Let's have a look of this scene. Act 1, Scene 2. It takes place on an isolated island. So this island actually was in the beginning, it was ruled, it was governed by Caliban, the son of Sycorax, a witch. So when Prospero came here, Caliban used to be the ruler of this island. But Prospero, with the help of his magic powers, he overpowered him, he enslaved him. So Caliban is the slave of Prospero now. Every now and then he keeps revolting against the authority of Prospero, but because of Prospero's magical powers, he is helpless. So this way Prospero is ruling this island. Here we see the island before Prospero's cell. Now the scene shifts from the sea, from the ship, to Prospero's cell on an island. The island before Prospero's cell, and to Prospero and Miranda. We know that Prospero is the central character of the play. He is at the center of the play. Everywhere we will see him, or if he is not seen, he will be he will be dominating the activities and actions of the characters. And Prospero and Miranda. Miranda is his daughter. She is around 15 years of age, because we know Prospero has been living on this island for last 12 years. And when he came from Milan, when he came to this island, Miranda was not even 3 years old. Means she was somewhere between 2 and 3. Now she is somewhere between 14 and 15. Miranda says, if by your art, my dearest father, you have put the wild waters in this road, allay them. Miranda sees everything happening in the sea, sees that ship is stuck in a storm, in a severe storm, and it is about to sink. She tells the father. She thinks that she's convinced that it is her father's doing. It is her father who has been, causing this tempest. She requests him to allay it, to control it, because the sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the Vulcan's cheek, dashes the fire out. It appears that the sky is pouring fire in the form of thunderbolts. The sky is pouring fire to burn the ship, but mounting to the sea mounting to the Vulcan's cheek. But the sea, the waves, they are mounting, they are rising to the sky. They are rising. They are so high that they seems to be touching the sky. The waves are so high that dashes the fire out, that they are saving the ship from burning. The sky is pouring fire, but the sea is, causing high waves. Both things are very dangerous for the ship, Although she says that the fire is prevented by the high waves of the sea, but still both are very dangerous. Both are dangerous. The fire is dangerous, but the high waves, they are rather more dangerous for the ship. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. Miranda is such a soft-hearted, she is such a delicate kind of girl that she is feeling the same pains that the people on the board are facing, that they are, feeling on the board. I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. She has heard the cries of the people on the board. She has heard them cry before they were drowned in the sea. So she is suffering equally. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creatures in her. A brave vessel, a large ship, a brave vessel which struggled a lot before sinking, and it was full of some creatures, some people, and some noble creatures in her. The way they were crying, it appears that they were noble creatures. They belong to some, educated families, civilized families, well-cultured families. Dashed all to pieces, and the ship, it struggled for a long time, and then it dashed to pieces. It, submerged in the sea. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. The people, those who were crying, they were heart-rending for a person like Miranda. It can be heart-rending for any, brave heart, any daredevil as well. But Miranda, she is, only 14 or 15 years of age, and moreover, she is very soft-hearted lady. She says that the cries that she heard, they were heart-rending. Oh, the cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Poor souls, they were poor creatures. They perished. They all drowned in the sea, and they all died. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or it should the good ship so have swallowed, and the flouting souls within her. Had I been any god of power. She wishes if she had been any goddess, any god who had some power. So what would she do? I would have sunk the sea within the earth. Or it means before, it should the good ship go, so have swallowed. So if she had been some goddess with some, supernatural powers, what would she do? She would sink the sea into the earth. Or it should the good ship so have swallowed. Before it had swallowed the good ship, before the sea swallowed the ship, she would have sunk the sea into the earth. She would have, vanished the sea. She would have vanished the entire water of the sea before it sank the ship. If she had been some goddess, some god with some powers, the flouting souls within her, and the ship sank with the flouting souls. Flouting souls, the people, they were very afraid. They were terrified. Before this, they died drowning in the sea, she would have vanished the sea, vanished the water, only to save those creatures, those people, those souls. Souls here means people. Prospero, be collected. Be collected means be calm. He sees that Miranda is quite disturbed seeing death of so many people in front of her eyes. He sees that she is not calm. She has, so much disturbed. She is so much disturbed that she is not calm at all. He tells her, be collected, be calm, no more amazement. Don't be amazed. Means Prospero knows everything. He is calm, he is collected because he knows something which Miranda doesn't know. No more amazement, tell your piteous heart, there is no harm done. So this is Prospero who knows everything because it is his doing. Prospero is the one who is responsible for this tempest. He has caused this tempest with his magic powers. So he tells her, don't be afraid because no harm is done. All the people on the board, they are safe. They have been saved. Miranda says, oh, woe the day. What a woeful day. What a sad day. Sad day. She has witnessed deaths of many people. She doesn't know how many people are there. Even we don't know. We know some mariners. How many we don't know. But whatsoever the number is, according to Miranda, they all have died drowning in the sea. Means she has seen many people die in front of her eyes. Today is the saddest day of her life. Prospero says, no harm. Don't call this day a woeful day, a sad day, because no harm is done to anyone. No one has died in this storm. Everybody is safe. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, know that I am no better than Prospero. I have done nothing but in care of thee. Says that I haven't done anything. So everyone is safe. All the people on the board, they have been saved. They have not drowned. But in care of thee, my dear one, thy, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art. And my daughter, first of all, you must know who you are. Now is the time when Prospero thinks that Miranda must know who she actually is. Miranda has been living on this island for last 12 years. And, a child of age between 2 to 3 doesn't remember many things. Things before that stage are like a dream, We people, you people are in the stage of, 16 or 17. If somebody asks you how were your activities when you were in class pre-nursery or nursery or in class 1, so you will think that you don't remember anything at all. Miranda doesn't know who she actually is. So Prospero today at this point thinks that she should be made aware of who she actually is. My daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art. He tells her that she is ignorant of what she actually is, not knowing of whence I am, where I am from, nor that I am more better than Prospero, master of a full poor cell. And you don't know who Prospero means, who I am actually. I am more better. More better in modern language is not used at all. We say only better. Okay. So, although it was considered right at that time, I am more better than Prospero. I am better than this Prospero who is master of a full poor cell. You think that Prospero, your father, I am only the master of this poor cell. They are living on an isolated island. There are not many facilities at all. There is, whatsoever is available on an isolated island, that is, the luxury for these people. That is luxury or necessity, whatsoever is considered is available for them. But Prospero is not, what Miranda knows as. He is far better than what she thinks Prospero is to be. Then Prospero, master of a poor cell, and the, greater father. So I am a greater father, I am not only Prospero, the master of this cell, I am a greater person. Your father is a greater person than the Prospero of the master of this poor cell. Miranda says, more to know, did never meddle with my thoughts. More to know, did never meddle with my thoughts. Miranda says that she had never thought of knowing more about anything. She never wanted to know more about the things. She is satisfied with whatever she has got. She is satisfied with Prospero as the master, as the ruler of this island as he is. She has never desired to know more about Prospero. She is happy with Prospero, the master of this poor cell. They never meddle with my thoughts. I never wanted to know anything more. Prospero says, it is time I should inform thee farther. Prospero says that this is the time. Miranda is now mature enough to understand the things. Prospero thinks that this is the time. This is the best time to tell her reality, what Miranda actually is, where she actually is from. I should inform thee farther from what you know right now. What do you know right now? You will be informed much more than you know. Lend thy hand and pluck my magic garment from me. He is wearing a magic garment. He is wearing a magic cloak. The cloak that he wears at the time casting some spell. He is wearing his cloak and he wants to remove it first of all, so that he may speak to his daughter as an ordinary man, not as a man who knows magic. So pluck my magic garment from me. So lays down his mantle. The mantle he is wearing, he lays it down and then starts speaking. Lie there, my heart, lie there. Wipe thou thine eyes. She had been crying. Miranda had been crying. Why had she been crying? Seeing so many people drown in the depth. Seeing deaths drown in the sea. Seeing the deaths of so many people, she was crying. She couldn't bear that tragic scene. She was crying, and that's why Prospero tells her to wipe your eyes, have comfort, be comfortable, because there is no harm done to anybody on the ship. They all are alive, they all are safe. Have comfort, be comfortable. The direful spectacle of the wreck, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee. The direful spectacle of the wreck. You have seen a shipwreck. It is a very direful, it is a very painful spectacle that you have seen, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee. Compassion. She is very compassionate by nature actually. Miranda is a highly compassionate girl. She is very soft-hearted girl, and she has just witnessed deaths of many people. That's why she is crying. And Prospero knows this, that the scene, the direful scene, the sad scene has touched the very virtue, the very trait of her compassionate nature. I have with such provision in mine art, so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an here, better to any creature in the vessel. I have with such provision in mine art, the art of magic. I have used my magic in such a way that not even a single soul, soul means human being, there is no soul, not even a single soul has been harmed. Not even a single soul has been harmed. They have not received even a single scratch mark on the body. Better to any creature in the vessel which thou heardest cry, which thou sawest sing. The very ship which you have seen sinking, which you have, the people on which they were crying, they are all safe. They are all safe. Which thou sawest sing, sit down, for thou must now know farther. He tells her to sit down because he has to tell many things to Miranda. Miranda, you have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay not yet. Miranda says that many a time Prospero started telling her something, but every time he left his sayings unfinished, saying that this is not the time to tell everything. But today, Prospero thinks that things had to be dawned on Prospero. The reality has to be dawned on Miranda. But earlier, on many occasions, he started but left it unfinished. Stay not yet. Every time he would say, nay, stop, no, not this time, next time. But Prospero says the hours now come. If in the past he left the story unfinished, there was a reason, because today is the time. Today is the time, things are happening together. All the people on the board, they are directly or indirectly associated with Prospero, and Prospero has caused this tempest so that those people can be brought to him. As those people are about to come to him, he has caused the tempest, he has wrecked the ship. The people on the board, they are about to come So, before their arrival, Miranda must know why he caused the tempest, why he let them face the shipwreck, and why he did not kill them. These are so many questions which must be answered to Miranda today. So, that is why he has started telling the story right from the beginning. The earth now comes. So, today is the day when you must know the reality, what Prospero actually is and what Miranda actually is, which she does not know. The very minute bids thee, ope thine ear, obey and be attentive. The very minute bids thee, ope thine ear. Open your ears now. Be attentive. Now I am going to tell you a very important thing. I am going to tell you the reality about you and me, about Miranda and Prospero, the real Miranda and real Prospero. Now be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? He starts his narrative with a question. He asks Miranda, does she remember anything about herself before they came to this island? They came to this island 12 years ago, and Miranda was around, not even 3 years old, she was around 3 years, less than 3 years. A 3 years old child, quite possible that he may forget the things when he was 3 years after 12 years. After 12 years, he may not remember what he was 12 years ago when he was 3. So, but even then he starts with a question, do you remember anything? Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? Do you remember anything about yourself before we came to this island? Do you remember? Miranda says, I do not think thou canst, for then thou wasn't not out 3 years old. I do not think thou canst. He himself answers. He himself gives a possibility that Miranda may not know, because she was not even 3 years old. She was not completely 3 years old. Although he has asked her a question, does she remember anything before they came to this island? And he himself gives the answer that she might not, because she was not even 3 years when he came to this island. But Miranda says, certainly sir, I can. But miraculously, it's a very amazing thing. To his amazement, Miranda says that she remembers something. Prospero says, by what? By any other house or person? Do you remember any other house that where we used to live, or any other person? Because there are only 2 human beings living on this island, Miranda and Prospero. So Prospero wants to know what she remembers about the time before they came to this island. Do you remember any house, or do you remember any person? Of anything the image, tell me that hath kept with thy remembrance. Whatever the images are there in your mind, tell me whether they are true or not. How have you remembered all the things? Miranda says, it's far off and rather like a dream than an assurance. Says that the things are of very remote past. 12 years is a long period of time for a child of 15 years. Says that I remember, and I am not sure whether that is a memory of a real incident or of a dream. Of anything that and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance warrants, my memory, I am confused because I don't know whether it is a reality or it has been just a dream. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me? So Miranda says, she asked her father. What she remembers is that there used to be 4 or 5 women who looked after her. It is a sort of dream for Miranda because she was not completely 3 years old then. It is a sort of dream for her, but she still remembers that there was a time when 4 to 5 women used to look after her. Prospero says, thou hadst and more, Miranda, but Prospero confirms it, that this is not a dream, this is the reality. Not 4 or 5, you had more women who used to look after you, Miranda, more, thou hadst and more, Miranda, but how is it that this lays in thy mind? He is amazed that even after 12 years, she still remembers this thing, and that too when she was just 3 years of age. She still remembers. But how is it that this lives in the mind? What ceased thou else in the dark backward and abysm of time? What seest thou else? What else can you see in the dark backward and abysm? Abysm is the depth of time. What can you see in the depth of time? The time which is so deep, 12 years is a deep time for a child of 15. What do you see? What else can you remember? What else do you still, have you still preserved in your memory? If thou rememberest aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayest. So he tells her, do you remember anything else apart from that you were looked after by 4 or 5 or more women, and what were you before you came here, and how you and I came here, how we both came here, how thou camest here thou mayest. You may remember how we came to this island, because we were not born on this island. We came here just 12 years ago. Do you remember what we were 12 years before? Miranda says, but that I do not. But it's a natural thing that that a girl of 15 years doesn't remember what happened 12 years ago. She apologizes, I don't remember anything else. Prospero says, 12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since thy father was the Duke of Milan and a prince of power. Now Prospero, he breaks this thing, this reality on Miranda. That 12 years ago, her father was not the master of this cell and this island. He was the Duke of Milan, and he was the prince of power. And a prince of power, he had a lot of authority, and as a duke, he had a lot of authority. Miranda says, sir, are not you my father? So when he says that your father was the Duke of Milan and he was an authoritative person, Miranda is shocked, because she had been thinking Prospero to be her father, but she can never imagine that he had been the Duke of Milan. Moreover, Prospero has introduced himself as the Duke of Milan. Her father was the Duke of Milan. So she thinks that she is the daughter of the Duke of Milan and Prospero is not a father. She thinks, that's why she asked this question. Sir, are not you my father? Prospero, he tells it in his own way, thy mother was a piece of virtue. She was a very virtuous lady. She was a very nice lady, and she said, thou wast my daughter and thy father was Duke of Milan. She told his wife, Miranda's mother told that Miranda was Prospero's daughter and her father was the Duke of Milan. He is saying two things in different ways. But the sum of everything is that Miranda's father is Prospero and Prospero is the Duke of Milan. And the father was the Duke of Milan, and his only heir, a princess, no words issued. The Duke of Milan has just one heir, has just one daughter, and she is no words issued. She is not the daughter of, mean parents. She is not the daughter of mean parents. She is, a daughter of nice gentleman and a lady. So she is the daughter of Prospero. Miranda says, oh the heavens, what foul play had we that he came from thence? No. This is another shock for Miranda, that she has been living on this island, this isolated barren island, while she should have been living in the luxury of a palace of a duke in Milan. So that's why she asks, what foul play had we that we came from thence? Then what happened? What missions happened that we had to come here from Milan? What happened? Or blessed was we did. So was it a misfortune that we came here? Was it a foul play or a blessing that we had to come here? We are living on the island, on an isolated island which is inhabited by 2 human beings only. We are living here. Is it a blessing that we are living here, or it is misfortune of ours that we are living here? Prospero says, both my girl. It is misfortune as well as, they are being fortunate that they are living here. They are blessed that they are living here. Reasons, they are by foul play, as thou sayest, were we heaved thence. It was a foul play. Somebody banished them. They had to leave Milan. Because of somebody's foul play, because of somebody's treachery, they had to leave Milan. They had to leave their palace, their empire, their estate, and they had to come here, but blessedly halt hither. They were unfortunate to have left their palace from Milan, and they were fortunate that they came to this island. They came to this island. It is a bit of fortune for them. They were fortunate that they reached this island, because they were left to die drowning in the sea in a dilapidated boat. But blessedly halt hither. They were blessed enough to reach here, and they were helped. They survived. Miranda says, "Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the team that I have turned you to. My heart bleeds. I am very sad, knowing to think of the team that I had turned you to. Because of me, you had to face many griefs. You had to, face many griefs because of me, because you had to carry me along with you. You had the duty of keeping me alive. You had the duty of bringing me up, give all the education and everything that a father has to do for his children. So because of me, you had to suffer a lot, and the reason for that, which is from my remembrance, please you farther. So I remember that because of me, you had to face many difficulties, and I still remember them, because for last 12 years she has been living here. If she doesn't remember before their arrival here, she remembers because of her how many times Prospero had to suffer. He had to face grief. But further, please you farther tell me what happened later. Prospero says, "My brother and thy uncle called Antonio, I pray thee mark me that a brother should be so perfidious, he whom next thyself of all the world I loved." So Prospero now introduces Antonio, who is on the ship with Alonso, Sebastian and Ferdinand and Gonzalo. Antonio is there on the ship, and he has also been on the board when the ship wrecked. So he says Antonio actually is Prospero's younger brother. "I pray thee mark me," just note it down, just remember that a brother should be so perfidious. My brother, the brothers, they love each other, they support each other, they comfort each other whenever they have, they face some difficult times. But his brother was a cheat. That a brother should be so cheat, "He whom next thyself of all the world I loved." Prospero says that he loved his brother more than anything else in the world. After Miranda, he loved Antonio the most in this world. "He whom thus next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my estate." He trusted his brother so much. Prospero trusted Antonio so much that he gave the management, the charge of the management of his estate, to Antonio. Because Prospero was always, busy in studies. He was fond of learning magic, philosophy and all. So because he spent a lot of time in studies, he could not look after his stately matters. He could not look after his dukedom. So that's why, so that the works of his estate functioned smoothly, he made his brother Antonio in charge of his estate. He gave the management of his estate to Antonio to look after his dukedom. Put the manage of my estate, as at that time through all the signories, it was the first, and Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts, without a parallel. As at that time, through all the signories, it was the first and prosperous the prime duke. So he gave him all the signories, all the, whatever the states he had, whatever the authorities he had, he gave everything to his brother Antonio. And Prospero the prime duke, being so reputed in dignity and for the liberal arts, without a parallel. And Prospero was a very dignified personality of that time. Every person respected him in his dukedom in Milan. Every person respected him. Everyone hailed him as a dignified person, and for the liberal arts without a parallel. And he was, he didn't have any parallel person who could, beat him in knowledge, in philosophy, in the art of magic. Those being all my study, and he, spent most of his time in studies. The government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger. The government I cast upon my brother. So, because he was busy in learning all the time, in studies all the time, he gave the government, the dukedom, to his brother, to his younger brother Antonio, so that he could look after the work, so that the things could function smoothly in his estate. He could study as well, and functioning was smooth in his estate as well. So he appointed his brother as the manager of the estate, and to my state grew stranger. But within some time, his own state became stranger to him. He stopped interfering in the matters of his dukedom. He did not interfere in any work at all because of his being busy in the studies, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. He was, transported and wrapped. He was lost, wrapped. He was completely focused on his studies. Thy false uncle, he is about to say something else, but then he asks, does thou attend me? Are you listening to me? Because it's a long tale. Sometimes the children, they feel bored, they feel monotonous to hear such a long story. So he keeps, asking her to be attentive. Does thou attend me? Are you listening? Miranda says, sir, most hatefully. Most hatefully. So this is the way he keeps attracting Miranda to listen to him, to pay more attention, whatever he's saying, because it's very important. Because it is important as it is directly associated with Miranda as well as Prospero. Being once perfected how to grant suits, how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping. So when Antonio was given the authority, he was given the dukedom, he was given the management of Milan. Once he perfected, once he learned how to grant suits, how to give orders, how to cancel them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, whom to be given authority and whom to be snubbed if anyone tried to overpower him. New created the creatures that were mine, and those who were Prospero's loyal courtiers, they were removed, they were replaced by the ones who were loyal to Antonio. I say, or change them, or else new form them, or they were asked to take Antonio's side and not to be loyal to Prospero anymore, or else new form them, having bought the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear. So once he got the key, the authority of the estate, he did whatever he wanted to, and he made the people do what he liked to. That now he was the ivy which had hid my princely trunk. So Antonio has been compared with an ivy. Ivy is a creeper which mounts the walls, and he calls himself a trunk. Himself is the trunk. Trunk is the part of a tree. The ivy which had hid my princely trunk. As an ivy, he hid what Prospero was. He removed Prospero's memories from the people, from the Prospero's memories from the people's minds. He did work in such a fashion that people forgot what Prospero was, who Prospero was, and sucked my verdure out on it. And Prospero's verdure, his doings, verdure is greenery otherwise, as we are talking about an ivy, a trunk, an ivy, it crept on a tree and hid the trunk of the tree. The trunk of the tree is Prospero. He has been hid, he has been oversmarted by Antonio, and his verdure, Prospero's greenery, Prospero's doings, Prospero's reputation, Prospero's authority was hidden. Thou attendest or not? Again he asks Miranda whether she is attentive or not. Miranda says, oh good sir, I do. That she is hearing everything. She is listening to everything. Not hearing only, she is listening. Hearing any sound that we hear, listening to hear something very attentively. I am listening, sir, I do. Prospero says, I pray thee mark me. Mark me here, not it down here, it's very important. I thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind, with that which but my being so retired, overprized all popular rate in my false brother. I pray thee mark me, not it here, I thus neglecting worldly ends. Prospero was busy in his studies of magic, science, philosophy, and he forgot everything that was worldly. He forgot the worldly pursuits and kept himself absorbed in his studies of magic, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of a mind with that which but by being so retired, overprized all popular rate in my false brother. So everybody who was my loyal, who was loyal to me, they were brainwashed by Antonio, and they started following his false brother, await an evil nature, and he became an evil person. Antonio, he had got authority, he had got power, obtaining everything, his heart became evil. He wanted to possess this dukedom. He didn't want to be the manager of this dukedom of Milan. He wanted to be the Duke of Milan. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him. My trust was beaten, My trust as a father, he used to consider Antonio to be his son. Being an elder brother, he was father figure for his younger brother. But his treachery was as great as Prospero's faith in Antonio, which had indeed no limit. His trust in Antonio had no limit. It was limitless. A confidence sans bound. My confidence in Antonio, it was sans bound. It has no boundaries. Without boundaries. Sans means without. Bound means boundaries. His confidence and his trust in Antonio was boundless. He, being thus lauded, not only with what my revenue yielded, he was lauded, He became the supreme authority. There was no one above Antonio, because Prospero was the duke, he was the manager, but Prospero, being an ardent lover of studies, he did not interfere in his stately matters, always busy in studies only. So Antonio was the supreme authority in Milan, and not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact. He earned whatever Prospero was earning earlier, he did more than that. He started extracting more than what Prospero was capable of. He started getting more what Prospero couldn't do. Like one who, having into truth, but telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie. So he knew what exactly the truth was, but he was such a sinner that he started spreading lies about the things, and if a lie is spoken 100 times, sometimes the people, they start believing it. He spread so much lies about himself, about Prospero, that people started trusting him. He did believe he was indeed the Duke. He started believing himself to be the Duke. He thought that he himself was the Duke, that he was not the manager of this estate. He started thinking himself to be the Duke of Milan. He started behaving like the Duke of Milan. Out of the substitution and executing the outward face of royalty, So he turned the things in his own favor. He, whatever he could do to possess the dukedom of Milan, he did that. With all prerogative, hence his ambition growing. So whatever he wanted to possess, he did, and this way he became the Duke of Milan. Again, dost thou hear? Are you attentive? Are you hearing what I am saying? So here we come to know how Prospero lost his dukedom, how his younger brother cheated him, how he duped him, how he overpowered his brother and became the Duke of Milan. Up to here, we have come to know reading this scene, but how Prospero was fortunate enough to survive, to run away, and how he reached this island, and how was he saved, how did he keep himself and his daughter alive. We will read it tomorrow in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye.